Pleasant good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night. Pleasant greetings to one and all. Welcome to the Wednesday's episode of Speaking Out Exposing Corruption and Incompetence. Welcome. Today, Wednesday, the 14th day of February 2024. Welcome and happy Valentine's Day to all. Happy Love Day, as I would say to all. Hope you have a wonderful day. Now, as I would say, share the life. Let them know that we're here. I saw lots and lots of students in the schoolyard this morning. Lots, almost at a record number. So here we are. As you can guess from the voice, I am not fully recovered from the cold that I told you I had on Monday, but well enough to make sure that I'm here to share information with you, to educate and to teach. So yes, Wednesday midweek program. And the numbers are staggering. So share the live and let them know that we are here. Don't be selfish. And my apologies beforehand if you hear me sniffling, coughing, sneezing. It's the cold. And some of you made some recommendations on Monday. Wine, lime and salt, and all of those things. Well, I didn't take any of those. I took some of the more traditional medication, and there's been significant improvement in my condition. So I know I'm going to be here to last out the next 90 minutes or so to bring you valuable and credible information. Welcome. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let's rejoice and be glad in it. Let's celebrate being in the land of the living. You know, talking about celebrating being in the land of the living. You know, as I said, Monday was Carnival in Trinidad. Yesterday was Shrove Tuesday. And last night I saw a video coming out from Trinidad. One of those look like the Calypso 10. Lord Nelson, 92 years old. Lord Nelson, 92 years old with his cane and everything. And if you see the man performing. So yeah, we have to give praise and thanks for being in the land of the living. And as they say, age is just a number. Age is just a number. Wonderful motivation to see 92-year-old Lord Nelson. You know Lord Nelson of King Lear's fame. That's the man who sang King Lear. He had a lot of other beautiful calypsos as well. But he sang one of those old calypsos during the carnival celebrations there this year. And it was wonderful to see a 92-year-old on stage performing with his cane, tear off his shirt, push off his muscles and all this sort of thing. Wonderful. So let's celebrate. Let's give praise and let's give thanks. As I said, my colleague is already in the studio waiting anxiously to join us to share information. We have the usual thing. We're going to do the roll call, and you will see what I'm talking about the number of students that were in the schoolyard. We are talking about in the schoolyard. Because again, I need to remind you that once the program is scheduled, you can log in on YouTube and you can make your comments, people exchange greetings and all of that. And then when we go live, then you're able to come on Facebook, but you're not able to log in before on Facebook. So if you want to get in early, the best thing to do is to go to YouTube. And while you're there, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel. Some people have still not subscribed. That's okay. Some of the students have still not subscribed. Go to the Facebook page. You like the page, and you will get all the notifications whenever the program is scheduled, when the program go live, and so on. So the people who are in very early are the ones who have subscribed to the channel on YouTube. So for the time we schedule the program, you get a notification that we are scheduled, and you can log in immediately. You can get first jump, as you would say. You could get edge, as you would say. I know if you're familiar with that term, you're giving the person edge, or you get first jump. That means back in the day, school day term, and so on. So yes, welcome. And let me do the roll call immediately, and then we're going to go into the program. I'm going to invite my colleague in, and we're going to go into the program. We have lots to tell you again today, lots and lots of developments that we need to bring to your attention. So roll call first. First man in all the way from the UK. Winston was here early this morning. He came in at 8:04. This is as soon as the program was scheduled. Then Joan. Yeah, we had Kenneth. Next was Kenneth in from Maryland. Then Aileen came in. Sean is there. Sean don't miss a class. Sean don't miss from New York. Vibart too from New York. He's always a regular early man in the thing. Wayne out of the UK is here as well. He's wishing us a blessed and productive day. Thank you, Wayne. Earl came in, Orly. Eric from New Jersey, 8218. Anthony came in at 822. Francis, I missed you a few weeks. I know you might have been looking, but you did not come in. Welcome. Barlet from Linden is here. See, Linden, the teachers from Linden are out in full numbers and they're getting good support. That is good. We're going to comment on this teacher strike when we get fully into the program. Barbara is here. Francis, the man from Melanie. Carlton, my squad mate, is out of New York, is here. Samuel in class. Fergus, and Fergus he's making some comment there, as you can see. Pauline, then we had Debbie, not a regular. Happy Valentine's Day. Same to you, Debbie, my dear. Joseph, can't recall Joseph before, but welcome. Pito is here from Queens. Trotty, Patricia from New Jersey. Then we have Tessa. Tessa is from Orlando, Florida in the house. We're from all over the states. Then Jacko. No, Jacko is from Georgia, even though he didn't say it here this morning. He's from Georgia. John is in the house. Winston from California. Floyd is here. Malcolm, Tilula, Doreen. She said Doreen is sending love. Doreen is from New Jersey, my squad mate. Orin is in class. The Sauls are here. Courtney and Brian, they came in at 9:09, so I guess they held hands and came in together. Patricia from Philadelphia. Welcome, Patricia. Welcome, Philadelphia in the house. Ulrich, my squad mate, is here. Isabella, another regular. Queenie, if in New York, is Rastaman is in the house. Carl, another squad mate from Arizona. Vibert, the man from East Bank, Demerara. Gordon from New Jersey. Kerry is in class from Baltimore. Anthony is from the East Bank. Peter's all in the East Bank of Demerara. Lynette is from the UK. You see the widespread of students we have. Lynette from the UK. Then we have Maureen Ulrich, a regular. Then we also have Pamela, West Dem lady. She's here. Jakey is from Maryland, and Jakey is in the house. Family music. I missed you a few weeks. And family music is from Brooklyn. We have Raul in class. Colin is from Queens, I know. Bonita, West Coast Barbies in the house. Welcome. Then we have Brennan from New York is here. Brennan from New York is in the house. Carville. Sandra is here. She's calling us freedom fighters. We're not really freedom fighters. We're just teachers. We're just teaching. Jay, I can't recall seeing Jay before. Welcome to class, Jay. Cecile is here. Rohan. Rohan, I see someone with your name sent me a Facebook friend request. You must confirm because I don't accept friend requests like that until I confirm that I know the person. Then we have, who else is here? Karen. Emerson is from Midtown Manhattan. Clarence is in the house. Denise too say wishing her happy Valentine's Day. Magnell, Bart, same wishes. Clay is in the house. David, welcome. Waiting to be taught. We're gonna teach you. Princess from Lamar Springs is here. And then we have, she's following the Linden strike. She said so, therefore she was late last month. They accepted. Lucius is here. Henrik is in the house. George, my countryman, 11899 is in the house. Sharon from the UK, another UK student. Welcome. Anthony Paul is here. Evelyn. Then we have Ezzy is in the house. Monica, the man from Texas, Everett is here. Cranston is here. Desiree. Danny, I hope you're feeling much better. I know a few weeks ago you weren't too well. I hope you have recovered or you are rapidly recovering, Danny. Terrence, 9795, old TSU man. He's from New Jersey. He's in the house. Then we have, sorry, I said New Jersey. He's from Toronto, Canada. My apologies, my brother. Then you have Jean is here. Roy from Schenectady, New York. Sheila, Chilo is in the house. Johnny, Sheila, my squad mate. TK 9125. He's from California in here. Colin is very much here. Philip. Then out of the UK again, we have Oren. Then we have Glendis. Heather is here. She says she's locked in from the cold. Evangelina. And then when we went live, the first person on Facebook, we had Rhonda. Then we had Simone, Raul, who's there? Linda from Barbados. Linda from Barbados. What we get? Lynette from Barbados. Lynette Goodman from Barbados. Steve, Nicole, Joy Prince, William, and it goes on and on. Denise, of course, is always here. And yeah, so that's it. We have lots and lots of students who are on the live. And of course, many people watch later. You know, some people have been, I understand that some people are prevented from watching the live, you know. It's an offense in the Guyana Police Force to be caught watching this show at any time. At any time. But I've said to people, they can't stop you from watching when you go home. Because remember, once the live is finished, this program can be found on YouTube and on Facebook. So you can watch in your own time, at your own leisure. You can watch, you can pause, you can replay, and all of that. You get all of that facility on YouTube and on Facebook. So yes, welcome, welcome, welcome. And let me make a few announcements before I bring my colleague in. I did announce Happy Valentine's Day to you. Today too is Ash Wednesday, the beginning of the Lenten season. So for all of you Christians who are going to observe the Lent, it starts today. And I hope that you're successful in whatever sacrifice you decide to make. Some people give up alcohol. Some people give up sex. I hope that chap, you know what I'm talking about. I hope that chap going to give up lying. I hope that chap can give up lying. And if you don't want to start from today, that he can start from tomorrow, Thursday, when he usually spews another lie. So that is my wish for that chap for this Lenten period. And I hope that once he realizes that there's no value in telling lies, then he can continue long after the Lenten periods. And remember, Lent ends with Good Friday. For us who are Christians, Lent ends with Good Friday, the most holy day in the Christian calendar. So yes, and we go on, you know, we give some birthday greetings. Birthday greetings. First, I want to wish birthday to his retired Assistant Commissioner, Kevin Adonis. He's celebrating his day today. Also celebrating a birthday today is someone who I'm sure is on the program. I'm sure Kevin is on the program as well. Is retired Superintendent Franklin Mingo. Franklin, happy birthday to you and Kevin. Today is your day. I hope you have a wonderful birthday. Hope you live to see many, many more prosperous, healthy and birthdays. So happy birthday to those two guys. And then we have belated birthday. Well, we don't have any belated, but we have advanced birthday greetings today. Some people who are celebrating their birthday tomorrow. I want to start by a co-accused and a co-defendant. Ivla Whitaker, he celebrates a birthday. Retired Assistant Commissioner Ivla celebrates a birthday tomorrow. We have also retired Woman Assistant Commissioner Carol Primo. She's celebrating a day tomorrow. And then who else we have? We have retired woman Deputy Superintendent Amanda Harmonstein. She celebrates a birthday tomorrow as well. So I want to wish all of those who are celebrating today and those who are celebrating tomorrow all the best on your natal day. In terms of announcement too, I see Ulrich and others are here, cricket fans. West Indies pulled back one. West Indies was able to win the third T20 in Australia at Perth, of course, Perth. And I would not, those of you who know the ground and know the cricket history would not be surprised that West Indies won at Perth. So West Indies won. They batted first on this occasion and made 220 odd runs, and then they restricted Australia. So we had a consolation win. And the significant thing about this tour for me, if you're following it, is that on every occasion West Indies batted, they made over 200 runs. It's a good sign. So even though they lost the series 2-1, they were able to score in excess of 200 runs on every single occasion. And I saw yesterday too that it is the highest aggregate runs scored in any series T20. 3 games, I think they said something like 1,266 runs scored in the 3 games. The highest ever in a match T20 series. So there are some good signs. Let me remind us too terms of announcement, I'm going to bring in CC just now, is that tomorrow, the 15th of February, would be the 50th anniversary of some of my squaddies. And let me give you the information here. I have it scribbled down someplace here. Where is it? You know, I announced before that Course 74 went into the training school in two parts. On the 15th of February, 1974, those courses were for the female, W317 Radhika Singh, all the way to W343 Lilith Wilson. They joined those were the women who went in on the 15th of February 1974. And for the male, we had 9363 Dodsley Aaron, and up to 9481 Beard, I think. I might be off there a little, but those were the men who went in on the 15th of February 1974. Why I keep saying 1974, right? So tomorrow they would have completed 50 years. The second half of the course that I was in went in on the 4th of March 1974, and we started from W344 Ormin Aline and ended at W369 Corinne Murray Albert. Both of those courses are now deceased. Those were the women. And for the men, 9482 Sinclair Abrams, all the way to 9567 Arthur Bagot. But in terms of training, the people who were in training school at the time, it ended with 9565 Fraser. I was in that squad. So I know. So we, the second half, will actually complete our 50th anniversary on the 1st of March, next 2 weeks, this year. So we all had one course number, Course 74. So we all consider ourselves one course, a fantastic course. We have a WhatsApp group where we have been exchanging messages and reminiscing on the old times. And so congratulations to those who are celebrating the actual 50th tomorrow. And in the next 2 weeks' time, I will be, God's willing, I will be celebrating too. But we all one course. And we're planning to get together and to, that's a reminisce. But for now, we have the Facebook group. And I'm encouraging those members. I see some of our members here. I think all those who are here might be in the group. If you're not in the group, send your phone number, contact either myself or Frankie Softly. We are the admins, and we're going to add you. We have some beautiful conversations going on. And I see some pictures, oh my Lord, some pictures of some of us in our youthful days. And those things are good to see. Let me bring in my colleague, Mr. Conway, for him to give his welcome. CC, welcome. Hope you had a wonderful, restful night.
Yes, wonderful, restful night. And I enjoyed the day yesterday, especially had some interaction with my grandchildren. Remember, the teachers strike, so they're home, so they kept grandfather very, very busy. Birthday greetings, Franklin Mingo, my old bush friend, Ivla Whitaker, my buddy, Kevin Adonis, Amanda Hormanstein, who used to assist me when I was a sports officer. You know, Carol Primo, very decent women. And all of you, I want to wish you many, many happy more birthdays to come. And just to let you know that age is an issue of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. In terms of the cricket, remember at the last episode, I said I'm going to feed the positive dog, and we won. And as you mentioned, Paul, 200 runs, three consecutive matches is a good sign. And remember, the grounds in Australia are very big there, you know. And to compare them with the West Indies, some of them men are being caught beyond the boundary. It's like playing at border and you're getting caught in Regent Street and GFC. So I expect much more runs to flow from those bats. But the bowlers got to do a more bit of containment.
Yeah. So thanks, my brother. Thanks for that. You know, perhaps let me start and reflect on a sad note is that I observed that the death anniversary of Senior Superintendent Edmund Cooper passed very quietly, I think, at the end of last month. I was going through some notes and I realized that Cooper's anniversary just flipped by. I know I said to myself, and I'm saying it here now, I hope that is, you know, a lot of promises were made when he passed. They did him all kind of thing. All kind of thing. They contributed to the death of that officer. They stressed him out. Remember, he was at they put him all over the place, Jack of the Box. He went to law school, he graduated, and he wasn't a COVID lawyer. He became a lawyer, admitted to the bar. He was during the time of the Henry Boys killing. He was in charge of West Borbies, and then when the people came out on the road to demonstrate, them in Georgetown, the people in Georgetown felt that he did not take the type of action they wanted him to take. So they had him relieved of his command, and they put him through a lot of stress. They relieved him of his command. The minister, Home Affairs, Robeson indicated to the police administration that they wanted him charged criminally for the dereliction of duty and all sort of stress. They went so far as to, even though he got sick, he got a stroke, and he was in and out convalescing. While he was convalescing, those wicked and vindictive people rushed a process, an unlawful process, and they actually terminated his service, claiming that he was medically unfit to continue without going through the required steps in the process. So they terminated him, said that he was medically unfit, and while that was going on, the man passed away. Lo and behold, all them run out with their hypocritical selves to said all kind of thing about how good he was and all of that. And when at the man's funeral, it was very painful for me to listen to Ben, the same minister, singing praises of the deceased Cooper. When he is the man, I have the documents and the record, he started the process of stress, or he actually accelerated the process of stress by instructing that this man be charged criminally for dereliction of duty, in that he did not take decisive action to get the people off the road at West Coast Borbies there. And we made a note that some time ago, they had a similar demonstration at Buxton on the East Coast, long after that, or long after Cooper's incident. And the commander then, Pasram, went, spoke to the people, and talked to them, engaged them. No violence or force was used by the police. And that method or that approach was applauded. No dereliction of duty there, but in Cooper's case, he was to be charged with dereliction of duty. I hope that they have made looked after his benefits. They had promised to take care of his family, and I don't know what has happened since, but I hope at least he got his benefits. The family got the benefits of that officer. So yeah, the anniversary passed, and I thought that we should remind people of what transpired. Remember the same thing when Mr. Conway went to speak at the on the live. The live was being done by Big Smith Newswatch. They man mute the thing so you couldn't hear Conway, and people rebelled. People cuss out. I remember Bonita had a live the afternoon and carry on, or as the minister would say, she behaved bad, but she was in a private place, so that was not an offense. CC, I know Cooper was very close to you, and I don't know if you remember his that anniversary.
I remember my anniversary, and I remember he had a birthday too earlier in the month. He was like my son. For the mother used to call me dad. We came a long way, and he wasn't treated properly as you mentioned, you know. And I remember when I went to speak, the thing that is weak down the leg side muted me. But you know, you can't stop the message, you know. You can't stop the message. So I remember Edmund very, very well, and I remember the atrocity, the things that the police administration did to him. They usurped the role of the Police Service Commission and the doctors and brought him in medically unfit. I don't know if that matter has been resolved.
Yes, you know, I can say again, I hope that his family receive or the benefits, his benefits, and perhaps you should inquire. Perhaps you should inquire, because they jump up. I remember very well the man who sits in the chair there, the extended squatter. The man rushed to the what we just call it, their house, the house of the deceased person, and the man turned up with cameras and all sort of thing, publicity stunt, turn up with cameras and make all sort of promise of a promotion and all that. Those things are recorded. So I hope that the family got the benefit and that he continues to rest in peace. I don't know if he's resting in peace. I hope he is resting in peace after being treated in that manner. Not easy. They treated him very, very poorly towards the end. Perhaps they saw him as a threat, having qualified himself as an attorney at law, admitted to practice law in Guyana, and then they had him at Mountain Branch. They had him shuffling all over the place. Now, moving on, we alluded to the teachers' strike, which is today, I think, in its 7th day today. And again, I want to say I'm fully in support of the teachers and the strike. They have a just cause, and notwithstanding what the wicked and vindictive nature of the politicians. I say this because what they have done. These people are talking about reconciliation and meeting to discuss and to resolve the issue. And at the same time, they announced, I saw the circular, that the teachers are not going to be paid for the days that they are on strike. The vice president made a statement about financial impropriety, and I was happy to see the head of the teachers union coming out and debunking that. But I see again, they said that the financial records were not in since 2004. I said, well, it's the 8th day, but 6 actually. What is it? They had 5 and 2, 7. Oh yeah, 8th day. Correct. My maths. Just now I might have said 83. Like my maths getting mixed up. My sums is that maths. My sums getting mixed up. Thanks to the correction, man. Thanks to the correction. I love it, and I'm not going to tell you weren't listening. You weren't listening. No, I made a mistake, and it's the 8th day. Everybody tell me it's the 8th day. Thank you very much, students, for the correction. They said the slip of the tongue is not a fault of the mind. They started last week, Monday, and today is Wednesday. So, yeah, so they are into the 8th day. Thank you very much for that. And I was saying, they talk about financial impropriety and alluding to all kind of malfeasance and all of that. But the point is, remember, and the articles that have been floating around, in 2018, when the coalition government was in power, and the now second vice president was the opposition leader, the same Coretta McDonald, who is now the general secretary, was the general secretary then. And they went on strike. And the article is there. I want you to research and read it. The vice president, the second vice president, Bar Jagdeo, called on David Granger to engage these people and to resolve this issue. 2018. 2004, he said the thing wasn't in order until now. So at the time when they were supporting the teachers on strike in 2018, according to them, the financial records weren't in order, but they did not see it fit to talk about it. And they're talking about the thing being political. Look at the people who have turned out. Look at the people. And as people have been saying, many of the persons who are out are teachers who were thought to be or who are presumed to be in areas that supported the PPP government. So this thing cannot be deemed to be political. The people have a just issue and they should be fully supported. When you look at the teacher's salary scale, I talked about it the other day. I'm training teacher 100 and something thousand Guyana dollars a month. Can you imagine that? 100 and something dollars a month. And then when they get to the highest end of the scale, a principal, I think I had said principal, somebody corrected me. I love my students, man. I love my students. You make these mistakes, they tell you that you make a mistake. I mean, they're following and they're engaged. They are the principal of those institutes and so on. 409,000 Guyana dollars. Those people, I saw somebody sent me something to me. One of them get a PhD. Some of them most of them have master's degree, and that is what they are getting. And people, and then you're right, Carlton. They're talking about GTU being political. What about Gahu? They say the general secretary of the teachers union is a member of parliament, right? If the general secretary of GAU, a union that supports the PPP, is also a member of parliament. And there's no other union in Guyana that I'm aware of called as many strikes as GAU. But what happened was GAU called a strike. The issue is resolved in a very short space of time. You're talking about teachers, the ones who are expected to mold the young ones in this nation, our future leaders, and you're denying them benefits that are due to them. You're denying them these benefits. And it's very, very sad. is very, very sad when you look at these allowances and the salaries. I'm talking about allowances before I bring in Mr. Conway. I have been researching the allowances for police because I know the police, they can't, according to the law, they can't strike. There is supposed to be a police association that is supposed to make representations on their behalf. And the only thing that this current police association did is that once they were installed, and I'm using the word installed, because if you recall, they had a meeting, an unlawful meeting, which was convened by Brutus, and I call him name because the records are there. Convened by Brutus, unlawfully, according to the police standing order, according to the rules of the association. He has no role in that. He just called a meeting. He installed Prem Narayan as the chairman of the police association. Another meeting, the legitimate meeting, was held the very afternoon, and they returned the previous executive. Ford and those forces were returned. When the man who was carrying out the functions of the police commissioner, Nigel Happy, learned of that, he nullified both meetings. When he learned that there were two meetings, he wrote, and again, I say when I get the letter, I get a copy of the letter. He wrote to tell them that both meetings have been nullified and they are to hold a meeting at a future date. The next morning, he writes again to say, having thought it over and all of that, he's now going to recognize the first meeting, the illegal meeting that was held by Brutus and that installed. What did they do? All they did was to accept a list of persons to be put on the Police Service Commission and presented that list to the Parliament. So that is how you get these new members of the Police Service Commission now. I want them challenge them thing because I get cargage. For those of you who know what cargage is, we get documents to support what we are saying. But the police are in a dire strait too. Education allowance is $320 Ghana taxable in the Ghana Police Force. Let me repeat that. There are many persons, they like to publicize it, which is a good thing, that many persons from the force have gone to university, they get degrees, they get master's degree. They having people, you have those things. And what is the allowance? $320, 20 Ghana, taxable. That is taxable. So when they take out the tax, it comes down to a thing about $312. That is what you have. Laundry allowance, traveling allowance. I tell you, traveling allowance in the Ghana Police Force. When I retired, when I'm back in 2020, I retired. I remember well, if your car was insured comprehensive insurance, they paid you $21,642 a month. And you had a long line form you have to make out and send in. You have to show that you did 600 miles for the month. So 21,640, this 2010. Now, 2024, with a 1 point something billion budget. Why is it traveling comprehensive? 21,644 Ghana dollars. The same thing. The same thing. Last week when I mentioned it, somebody told me that when they went to fill up the car, they had to pay $60. Well, that got to be US, born in US, $60, and that is about $12,000 one fill up. $12,000. So you're talking about repairs and servicing and all of those things at the time. 21,642. And I have some other allowances. I'm trying to do the research, and I'm going to bring it to you at some time. But what did the police association did? Nothing. I don't know if they still have a police officers association. They used to be. I was the chairman of that body for once. But the problem with the police officers association, it doesn't have legal status. That's a trillion budget, the $1 trillion budget, yes. Again, the code was to get me making all of these slippages and so on. But it's a $1 trillion budget we had. And that's what we think. So the Police Officers Association doesn't have legal recognition. Whereas in the Police Act, Chapter 601, provision is made for the Police Association. No such provision is made, or no similar provision is made for the Police Officers Association. And the Police Association represents ranks from constable right up to inspector. And the Police Officers Association is intended to represent ranks above inspector, I think all the way up to senior superintendent, from cadet to senior superintendent. But that never got, we made many representations for the 1601 to be amended to cater for the police association, but that amendment was never done. So that is what we have. That is what we have. Let me bring in Mr. Conway before I continue. CC, your comments on this teacher strike, my brother.
Well, it continues in the 8th day, and I am in support of them because I know that they have a just cause, and they should continue with it. Continue with it all the time. And don't tell me that the government said they ain't get money. They get $1 trillion budget. We got money, and they're taking the money and they're wasting it. There's no real accountability, no due diligence. They're giving away cash grants left, right, and center. I say he's a fisherman and I getting money. And some people collect, I know a man collected cash grant and 3 different locations in one day. All day, your name on a list, put your name on a list, I ain't going to think this. So they're giving away cash grants, and the contracts that they're giving to people, and the contractors, that's where they defraud there. That's where the money's being wasted. Spend money on the teachers. They have a just cause, and that's what they need to look at. We get aisle money. Years ago, Trinidad used to call me they say Ayo Guyanese. No, they call me Olio, OIL, Olio Guyanese. The money is there, and teachers must have their just they're just due. And I've been reading, recently, and I want to recommend 2 books to both sides of the divide there, the politicians and the union people. That there are 2 books, one named Crucial Conversation, and they talk about tools for talking when stakes are high. Tools for talking when stakes are high. And the other one is Crucial Confrontation, and that tools for resolving broken promises, violated expectation, and bad behavior. They are very applicable in this situation. And those books are available on Amazon. And when I want my books, I just buy my own books. I don't obtain by other means. I just buy my books. And if they read those 2 books there, both sides, they might be able to solve some of the issues going on there. Because it's high time the strike can't go on forever. Something has got to break. And look at crucial conversation and crucial confrontations. That may be able to break the ice. Now, in terms of the police association, as you mentioned, Paul, is laid down in law. And I always like to quote the law. And it's section 43(1) of the Police Act, chapter 1601. It says, for the purpose of enabling inspectors, subordinate officers, and constables to consider and bring to the notice of the commissioner and the minister matters affecting their general welfare and efficiency, there shall be established an organization to be called a police association, which shall act through branch boards, central conferences, and a central committee as provided for by rules made under section 44. And I won't go into section 44. And as you mentioned also, Paul, is that this association was fraudulently installed. We have two elections in a day. Brutus, then, I think he was senior superintendent Brutus then, who had no role to play there, took up the mantle of being the returning officer and installed Prem Narayan and others. Then we had another one where MTH was the returning officer and Ford and others were returned. I remember Happy vitiated both elections. And then the following day after he was taken over the coals at a building northwest of the police headquarters and one in the southwest of police headquarters and one northwest of Brigdam Police Station. He wrote that after mature thinking and advice, the first one that installed Premnorine was the one. Now, that Premnorine was and team, they were installed there to do the biddings of the government, specifically to select persons to nominate persons to be members of the Police Service Commission. They were given names from a house in Robb Street. These are the names that you almost sent to Sherlock Isaacs, the clerk of the National Assembly. And that those names went to him and went to the select committee, and the select committee rubber stamped it. Therefore, we had this illegal service commission that one day said, hey, they're waiting on recommendations to promote people, and then the next day they promote 200 and something people. They promote people who left the work. The same Premnorine moved from inspector to superintendent, a triple jumper. Perhaps we should send him to the Olympics so that we can get a gold medal for the Olympics. And point to note, after they had submitted the names, all the members of the executive were promoted by that illegal police service commission. All of members of it were elected. Politics at play. So, and the Police Officers Association, I don't know, it may be dead. And as you said, there's no legal standing, but they have not done anything. I haven't heard a word from the Police Association. They need to hold yearly general meeting, and there's no general meeting being held. Elections being held every year. It's just dormant. They just went in there to nominate persons to serve on the Police Service Commission, names that they were given from a house in Robb Street. They did the bidding, and all of them were promoted, if not by the Police Service Commission, by the Commissioner of Police. So there's how we depart.
That is where we are. That is where we are. And as I said, the law is there. They are charged with the responsibility to make representation to the Commissioner of Police about welfare issues. And there are so many welfare issues floating around, and no one is dealing with it. No one. So the Police Association apparently put there to do the biddings, did what they were told to do, and they're now not functioning any longer. They are now not functioning any longer. And coming back to the comment I made, I said, somebody telling me I said I retired in 2020. This school got me bad, man. This school got me bad. 2010, I retired from the Ghana Police Force on the 4th of August, 2010, not 2020. I'm talking about monies, CC, and you talk about the corruption. I read only recently, it was in the news where this school to be built on the highway, I think it's Banya or somewhere there. People without no experience in construction, a group called Statement, got the $340-something million to build a school. And only recently I read that they were given a further $127 million. 347 or 340 something in the first instance. The work has not been completed. The work is long past the deadline, and they got an additional $127 million recently for the same project. So that's what we're talking about. That we went talk about, and they can't find monies to give to the teachers. They can't find monies to increase the teachers' salary and whatever other benefits they are to get, but they can find money, $127 million to build a school. Now, when you build this, when you give an additional $127 million to build a school, who going to teach? Who going there to teach? And that is the problem. That is a problem that we have, right? Yes, Rastaman, we know them. Statement, that is the name, Statements. So that is what is going on. Now, I'm moving on. I want to address an issue that came to my attention recently. And this is a matter we had addressed on this program before, I think. But let me go through it. It has to do with police discipline. It has to do with the police discipline, and more specifically, an issue relating to persons being promoted. And then after the promotion, is it discovered that that person had pending disciplinary matter. You know, as we said, persons with pending disciplinary matters ought not to be considered for promotion. That is what I told the president, and that is what initiated this move to get me, Conway, off the police association, trumped up charges and all of that. Because I said to the president that persons with pending disciplinary matters cannot be considered for promotion. And that view was endorsed by the Chief Justice when Brutus et al. Challenged the fact that they were not shortlisted for promotion. That was in December of 2020. When the Chief Justice ruled on the 28th of June 2021, she said that that is a reasonable thing, that if a person has a disciplinary matter, they should not be considered for promotion. But what has happened over the years is that, as we have said on this program, when we sat there to deliberate on promotions at the Police Service Commission, it was a very painstaking process because the records submitted by the police could not be relied on. In other words, a person will come, they will send a file, and the file will say that the person has not passed the promotion examination, and that is why that person is not recommended. When you contact that person to discover that is not so, the person passed and the records are not up to date. Something similar with disciplinary matters. They might tell you that the person has no disciplinary matter, or the last disciplinary matter is over 2 years old, and therefore the person can be considered. When you go on your check, it is not so. We had cases at the Police Service Commission, I remember 2 at least, where persons were promoted during our tenure. That is to say, having gone through the records, the persons were recommended by the force administration. Having gone through the records, we did not see anything to prevent those persons from being promoted. So we promoted them to inspector. I remember 2 cases at least. It was later discovered that those persons had pending disciplinary matters. The question then arose how those matters are to be dealt with. And we took a decision that if a person is promoted, let me say the person was a sergeant, promoted to inspector. Having been promoted, you discover there are 2 pending disciplinary matters. The correct thing to do is to discontinue the disciplinary matter. You discontinue the disciplinary matter, and what we did, we wrote to the individuals so the record could reflect that you were promoted. There was an administrative error. That is the term we use. There was an administrative error, and you were promoted when you had a pending disciplinary matter. In the circumstance, we give them a caution. Not warning, mind you, not warning, because warning is punishment according to the Police Disciplinary Act, Chapter 7, the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. You can't warn a person unless they went through a process as outlined in 1701. So for the officers who are listening, I know many of you listen, you can't warn. Warning is a punishment. And you got to use the language and things. So we caution those persons to be mindful of their conduct in the future and to tell them that as a result of this administrative error, the matter against you is discontinued. And we mentioned the matter and so on. I'm aware that the police administration, that is what the Police Service Commission did. What I just outlined to you is what we did at the Police Service Commission. The police administration faced with a similar problem where persons are promoted to sergeant, and then you discover that when they held the rank of corporal, they had disciplinary matters pending. I am aware that they sought the advice of the Director of Public Prosecutions. And the Director of Public Prosecutions had advised that the disciplinary matter can continue. Listen to this. The DPP advised that if a person had a disciplinary matter as a corporal, and due to an administrative blunder, that person is promoted to sergeant, the DPP is saying that the disciplinary matter can continue. In other words, you can charge a person and the matter can continue. We at the commission never agreed with that. I do not agree with that. And I said, therefore, what are you, and this is from an administrative, they might have been talking from a purely legal perspective, but we are saying from an administrative perspective, it should not be continued, because what are you going to tell the person? Here it is a sergeant. So you're going to now charge them under the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. So you're going to tell them, Sergeant Jones, you're hereby charged with being absent from duty, in that while you were a corporal, you were absent between that time and that time. That is what you're going to write in the particulars of the charge. How foolish that looks and sounds. So we said the prudent thing to do, the sensible thing to do, is to just discontinue the proceedings, make sure a notation is in the person's record that because of this administrative blunder, they should not have been promoted, but because of an administrative blunder, they were promoted. And you move on from there. But they have this situation where people now perhaps are insisting that a person who is a sergeant should be charged for offense allegedly committed when he was a corporal, or a person who's promoted to a corporal should be charged with an offense, an allegation made against him when he was a constable. The thing is wrong. The thing is nonsensical. How are you going to write that? How are you going to write that? And before I go on, let me bring in Mr. Conway for him to have his say on this matter. Because I think we at the Service Commission, we had encountered that. And I'm sure with all his years as a commander, he has something to say on that matter. CC, over to you on this matter.
Yeah, I recall when I was Commander West de Mararo, I recommended a traffic rank to be promoted from constable to corporal. Went to the promotion board meeting, defended it, and the commissioner promoted him. And lo and behold, I got a letter, I think about a month afterwards, saying I must state why I recommended this promotion when he had disciplinary matter pending. I wasn't aware of any disciplinary matter yet pending. What happened is the OPR did a secret investigation in relation to discipline. And one was a minor offense too. And even when we were on the board, the OPR man was there, and he didn't mention that this man had disciplinary matter pending. So the guy had to wear a stripe, and we had to discontinue the investigation, the disciplinary matter. But getting back to the DPP, sometimes the DPP is not always correct, and sometimes sometimes there are junior persons who deal with matter, who give advice. I can recall, and I spoke to it before, but let me recall it, that when I was Commander East Coast, we had a fatal accident at late one evening, where the only witness was the driver of the vehicle. The only witness didn't matter. And the investigator, the sergeant, recommended that we hold an inquest. The traffic officer East Coast say inquest. The detective officer, and just to let them know that in the fatal accidents, in my time, the detective officer would have to investigate or supervise investigation. The detective officer recommended inquest. The file came to me. I recommended an inquest. It went to the CID head. The CID head recommended inquest. And it came back to me with one sentence from one of the lawyers at DPP office. Charge the driver with causing death by dangerous driving. Winston Felix was the commissioner, and I always remember that matter. And I called him, said, you put on your views and send the file to me. I did as I was instructed, and the file went back to the DPP, and it came up from the DPP, this time from the Director of Public Prosecution herself, saying, proceed with an inquest. And the thing is that sometimes some junior persons there who have no experience in the office of the DPP will make some decision there, and which are not correct. And if you as a commander and you feel that, hey, this advice that is being given by DPP, put on your views in writing and send the file. But people write, for advice. The same one would at Suku jumping body place there. When I was commander board, I remember 2 issues we didn't agree with the directive of the advice of the DPP, and we sent back the matter with our comments, and the DPP changed and agreed us. So as commander, you got to get knowledge, you got to get backbone, you got to get stones, and not because the DPP say this is it. I'm making the point that sometimes it's a junior person with no experience with handling that file, and then you got to read file thoroughly. And if you don't agree, put down your views that you don't agree. You're not being rude, or as the case may be, but you're making the point. They might not see your views, or some they might agree with you, or they might disagree, but you don't want to leave it at that when this case is glaring. And then we're coming back to disparate matters. You know, they said the person get promoted and he had this very malspent. What happened with Brutus was senior superintendent, Karen Bass was senior superintendent, Stanley, Jupiter, Pazram, Bacchus, Premnarine, they all had disciplinary matters pending when they were promoted by the last police commission. And those matters were one revolved. In our time, they all had disciplinary matters pending and they were promoted. So I know what nonsense they're talking about.
Yeah, good to remind us of that. It's a good that's a good reminder. And as we said before, mistakes are going to be made because we discovered that the police records are in shambles, postal files and all of that type of thing. People pass the promotion examination. It is not reflected in the file. People have charges not reflected in the file. And therefore, when it came to the Police Service Commission, we had to do the due diligence. We had to check. I remember one case when a man was promoted by the Police Service Commission to inspector. We checked the file thoroughly. There was nothing in the file that said that the man should not be promoted. He was recommended by the administration, and we agreed that he should be promoted. And when the promotion was announced, the Complaints Authority wrote to the Police Service Commission to point out that this particular man had a matter pending. And we had to make it clear that, look, yeah, that might be so, but we were never advised. It is not in his record. And what I did thereafter as the chairman of the Police Service Commission on behalf of the members, whenever we were proceeding to start consideration for promotion, we wrote to the police, to the Complaints Authority, to request that if there are matters under investigation, we should be advised so that those persons are not considered for promotion. So you have to put systems in place. And it reminds me too of a matter where the commission asked this Jaigobian Jai Singh. He was the secretary of the commission at the time. And I'm referring to the matter with inspector or sergeant at the time, Alvin Hoyt, who was promoted to inspector by the Police Service Commission. And a friend of the then Commissioner Silal Prasad informed him, Silal, that this sergeant or newly promoted inspector had some private matter before the court. And based on that, the then Police Service Commission took back the promotion. And when the matter was investigated by a member of the commission, Mr. Smith, Deputy Commissioner Alvin Smith, they discovered that the allegation had no merit. They took back the man's promotion. But Jaigobian Jai Singh know about that. He was the secretary. He's been there forever long. I don't know if you're going to lie about this one as well. So, as we are saying, you're going to get issues. Matters are going to come up. But it's how these issues are resolved. And I'm disappointed that this matter can come up again because, as far as I'm aware, this issue about a rank being promoted when they have pending disciplinary matters was ventilated and dealt with. It was fully ventilated and dealt with, but apparently people don't read. They're not guided by precedents and all of that. So here you have again matters coming up where a man committed himself or is alleged to have committed him or herself when they were a corporal. There was an administrative blunder, and there are many administrative blunders now because you have a lot of incompetent people in those positions. The man is promoted to sergeant, and now they want to charge the sergeant for an offense allegedly committed when he was a corporal. Well, good luck. Good luck to you guys on that one. But again, I said learning is not taking place. They're jumping around, strutting and making a lot of noise, but they are not learning. Those things are easily resolved, As I've said, the precedent is there from the commission. I remember, as I've said, at least 2 cases. I remember the names of the persons, but I'm not going to call the names here. But the records are there, where they were promoted to inspector. Then it was discovered that allegations were there pending against them when they were sergeants. And we resolved the matter very easily. Put on record to tell them that it was an administrative blunder, and the rank cannot be made to suffer from an administrative blunder. It was not their fault. It was not their fault. So how can they be made to suffer from that administrative blunder? And that's it. So I hope that when they listen, they're going to sit down and they're going to come to some sensible decision. The DPP advice was a purely legal advice. When you combine the legal advice with the administrative process and all of that, I know you're going to resolve it because the DPP is saying that you can charge. Just say you must charge, you can charge. But then if you go to charge, I'm asking the question, even when it comes to the trial, even when it comes, if you're charged, when it comes to a trial, who is going to be the defaulter's friend? The law is clear on who can be a defaulter's friend. If a person is a sergeant, only a sergeant can be the defaulter's friend. So if you're charging the person as a corporal now, wait, you're going to get a corporal to defend this person wearing three stripes. These things are not as easy as that. If the person is promoted from sergeant to inspector, and you're now charging them as a sergeant, who is going to conduct the inquiry? Does it come under the jurisdiction of the Police Service Commission or under the jurisdiction of the commission? Because remember, the offenses alleged to have been committed when the person was a sergeant, which is the jurisdiction of the commissioner in terms of the disciplinary authority. But the person is now an inspector, so who is going to deal with it? Comrade, let me say this to y'all. To make the thing, they say easy lesson, good for those to make the matter short. Discontinue the matter. Put on a record in the person's file to tell that person that they were promoted due to inadvertence. You can use other words. These are my words. There was an administrative blunder in that you were alleged to have committed an offense when you were a corporal, but due to an administrative blunder, you were promoted to sergeant. You are given the benefit of the doubt. You are hereby cautioned that you should conduct yourself, blah, 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 blah. The matter is discontinued. And not dismissed, You can't dismiss unless there is a trial. Can't dismiss the matter as the Police Service Commission before us did. Can't dismiss the matter. In order for a matter to be dismissed, you have to have had a trial. But you can discontinue the proceedings. You have that authority, whether it's a commissioner or the Police Service Commission, to discontinue a proceeding. But I'm saying that if the proceedings is discontinued, a record must be in the person's file to reflect exactly what transpired. Let me bring in Mr. Kamil to have a closing thought on that particular matter. Then we're going to move on.
Well,
See anything else you want to say on that?
I agree to you, but you mentioned something about promotion exam. The police have since discontinued that. Persons don't have to pass any promotion exam to be promoted by the Commissioner of Police. I don't know where's the position with the Police Service Commission, but they have discontinued persons, corporal, sergeants, lance corporal. You don't have to promote. You don't have to pass any promotion exam before you are promoted, and they don't conduct any promotion exam anymore.
Lord of mercy. So on what basis they're determining who should be promoted or not? Just friends, family favorites, or just instructions from that police station in Brigdam, the one that is being repaired, or the police station in Rob Street? That is how it go about. Lord of mercy on the Guyana Police Force. Now I see we finish our hour. There's a matter that I really want to go into this morning. They have several others, but I think I'm going to jump from the notes that I have. And I speak in here, CC, about this money laundering allegation. Can't let this slip, That is too serious a matter for us to allow to slip. And here I refer to the allegation that a senior police officer, very senior police officer, deposited $16.5 million in the police credit union. $16.5 million at the police credit union. The ranks, quite rightly, it raised eyebrows, and the ranks advised that this thing can't be done because questions are going to be asked about the source of income and all of that. And I understand that the money was returned. 2 big plastic bags, cash money, cash, $16.5 million. My understanding is the notation said $15 million was to go into the person's savings account, and $1.5 million was to service a loan that the person did not have. Not trying to deposit, Carlton. My understanding, it was actually deposited, receipt was issued. Now, my understanding is that once you make your hand over money and receipt issue, it is considered a deposit. So that is my information. Receipt was issued. Then what happened? The money was returned. 2 big plastic bags with Grangers in them. 2 big plastic bags with Granger. And you know what happened to those persons who, I can say objected, who drew to the attention of the depositor that this thing is irregular? They were removed. They were transferred out of the area. And you know, it caused me to do some research because as far as I'm aware, it amounts to money laundering. My information, it is money laundering. And I did, you know, according to U.S. Department of Treasury, Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, abbreviated FinCEN, FINCN, right? They define money laundering involves, they say money laundering involves disguising financial assets so they can be used without detection of the illegal activity. Through money laundering, the criminal transforms the monetary proceeds derived from criminal activity into funds which are with an apparently legal source. So the question is asked, where would a senior police officer get $16.5 million from to make a deposit into the police credit union? Red flag must be raised. Red flag must be raised. And when people ask questions, quite justifiably, the people are removed from those areas. And then one wants to, the curious mind will find out, why did you not deposit that money into one of the commercial banks? Why did you not deposit $16.5 million into the commercial banks? And I want to guess that is because you are aware that if you were to do that, questions are going to be raised about the source of income. They're going to be a more detailed paper trail, which you are trying to avoid. So, in my view, given the definition for money laundering, this is clearly a case of trying to clean up some money by putting it into the police credit union. Clear case of that. And it reminds me of a previous case, if you all remember. You know, I told you I'll do my resource. Let me find the document here. It was in 2016, I think. Sorry about that disruption. Let me try for, I moved there and I hit the computer down, but let me set it back. Hope you all can see properly. Yeah, it reminds me of back in 2016. I'm going to read this thing to you all. So this money laundering thing is not new. Might be new for the police to be doing that. But in terms of officials, can you remember the $1 billion permanent secretary? A permanent secretary who came under investigation. And let me read, investigators are continuing their probe into billions of dollars which were passed through the bank account of permanent secretary of the Ministry of the Presidency, Omar Sharif. Sharif was arrested in late June of this year at his office, and he was sent on administrative leave. And then it goes on to say, reading part of the article, they were probing how billions, there's a billion with a B, how billions of dollars passed through his bank account from as far back as 2010. Sources are indicating that Sharif made investment in shares of several companies and in properties across the country. He was reportedly arrested by officials of the State Asset Recovery Unit, SARU, and the Special Organized Crime Unit, SOCU. There are records showing that he and his reputed wife, purchased shares in companies like Demerara Distillers Limited, Banks DIH, and even the Guyana Bank for Trade and Industry, GBTI. Investigators are also tracking several properties that may have been purchased by the official and placed in the name of his reputed wife. The properties included lands and homes are scattered across the country, official says. Investigators would have been questioning the origin of the monies used to buy the properties and shares. Sharif is one of the most senior officials to be arrested by the new administration in its anti-corruption crackdown. He was accused of money laundering and tax evasion. I continue. Officials had explained that between 2010 and this year, that's 2010 and 2016, there were hundreds of transactions in several bank accounts. The accounts were held at different commercial banks. From the bank accounts that investigators managed to ascertain that more than $10 billion would have been deposited. What is strange about this case is that not many businesses in Guyana would actually experience a turnover of what was deposited to that account. We go on. Worse yet, Sharif appeared to have paid very little taxes, despite having at least one impressive-looking property. He has lived in a prime location in Kitty. The Guyana Revenue Authority has stepped in to be part of the investigations. However, even if the tax issue is settled, it is unlikely that money laundering accusations would go away anytime soon, especially as the country has adopted tough new regulations. Sharif is reportedly claiming that the monies were proceeds from his phone card sales and other businesses. Sharif, 43, has worked at Freedom House before being hired by the Barrett Jack Deo's administration in the press and publicity unit of the Office of the President. Shortly after President Donald Ramotar was sworn in late 2011, he was appointed permanent secretary at the Office of the President, a position previously held by Dr. Nanda Gopal, who left that post after becoming a minister. Before that, he was reportedly at the Ministry of Health in a key procurement position. Sharif reportedly fell on the eyes of Saru and Soku late last year during an investigation into the disappearance of $600 million. The monies were supposedly to be paid to the Ministry of Public Service. However, there was no trace of it. Investigations later led to then Minister Dr. Jennifer Westford being charged along with her former assistant and placed before the court. Investigators on that case apparently owned in on Sharif and started tracking his business. It was then that they noticed unusually large amounts being deposited into his account. Around mid last year, one bank reportedly became suspicious after attempts were made to deposit up to $500 million at separate times to bank accounts linked to Sharif. The suspicious transactions were reported to the authorities, with the banks halting in the transactions. Then the last paragraph says Sharif was a candidate for the People's Progressive Party Civic in the last general election. The new administration had kept him in that position, saying that they were not in the business of witch hunting. So you had the case with Sharif. $10 billion, the man had $10 billion in his accounts. It sparked an investigation by the State Asset Recovery Unit and SOKU. I know that he was charged. I don't know what has become of that charge. So I want to know if this 16.5 man is not going to be investigated as well, because that too seems like a clear case of money laundering. And the issue was raised in Sharif case about taxes. This man getting all this money, where is he getting it from? Has he been paying taxes? And as I've said, these things requires proper investigation. 16.5, I'm going to repeat that number. This is a police officer, senior police officer, whose salary, I believe, might be in the vicinity of maybe $500,000. I don't know the exact amount, but $400,000 or $500,000 is his salary. But he is depositing $16.5 million into the police credit union. And coming back to the police association, these people are transformed. In other words, it becomes now a welfare issue, because the ranks who have done the correct thing by saying, look, sorry, this can't be done this way, they are removed. And it brings me what happened to the Financial Investigation Unit. Forget about SOKU, because SOKU has a bad track record when they investigate matters. Forget about SOKU. But the man is depositing this money. Let me remind you too, or inform you if you don't know. In the US, there was a case with the pilot. You remember the case? Where he was depositing monies into several accounts. And he getting even his mother, I think, to deposit. And in the US, once you deposit $10,000, or more into an account, it sparks a report to the authorities who are going to investigate that source. So what this pilot did, according to the records, he deposited He did not deposit 10,000 at one go. He made several small deposits, not recognizing that if you're making frequent small deposits, that also triggers the mechanism to the feds. And when the feds move in, that's the same man who had hundreds of $1,000s in the airplane, if you all remember very well. And the people say he's serving time in New Jersey. An investigation was done. He get jailed. He's serving time. I want to know when this investigation against the senior police officer will start. And I'm not going to let up on that. Because people, you have a case where I was on Conway, the matter dismissed. They charge us to say that we conspired to defraud the Ghana police force of $10,056,000. One trumped up charge. We paid to do a job. One trumped up charge. And this is the man who's depositing $16.5 million at one shot. And you want to tell me that is not going to be investigated as money laundering? Over the financial, what happened to the financial investigation unit? And I noted before I begin, Mr. Conway, and they want to have the thing. Yeah, they say Guy is now a member of the International Body of Financial Intelligence Units. That is something published recently, yesterday or sometime in the newspaper, where and it says here, Guy is now a member of Egmont. I hope I pronounced that properly, EGMONT, Group of International Associations of Financial Intelligence Unit. The Ministry of Legal Affairs, in a release on Saturday, said that on February the 1st, 2024, Guyana Financial Intelligence Unit's application for membership of the Egmont Group of International Association and Financial Intelligence Unit was granted at the organization's recent meeting in Malta. It goes on to say Guyana was represented at that meeting by the director of the Financial Intelligence Unit, Matthew Langevin. The Guyana application was supported by the Financial Intelligence Unit of Trinidad and Tobago and the British Virgin Islands, and was supported by the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. That is what is reported. Let me bring in Mr. Conway. CC, perhaps you can show some light on what appears to be a clear criminal activity. Go ahead.
You know, we're talking about contract and contractors, and we want to know where money coming from. Remember, contract and contractors. The police doing a lot of infrastructure work. Break down police station, I think it's 12-story. CID headquarters, TSU, another massive that involve millions of dollars. Contractors, and the police. You know, and getting back to this money, you know, cash. They will say that they use a check, you know, because they want paper trail. So you could choose a check. I remember about 2 years ago or thereabout, I was working with an international company and contract came to an end. And I received my termination benefits. They give me a check. And it amounted to a couple $1 million, not 16 point something, nowhere near that. And I went to the bank. And the bank refused to take the check. They said they must give reasons where I get this money from. So I had to go back to the company, and the company had to write a letter and said it is part of my termination benefits. So people using other things, they said they're not, the government not auditing the credit union, so they could launder money down there. Clear case of money laundering, and people must investigate. And I agree with you, Paul, that we mustn't let this one rest. And if you probe deeper, you're going to find more massive irregularities. The minister spoke in Parliament about financial irregularities at the finance office. We hear about the police quartermaster stores. And believe it or not, you're going to hear about all those massive construction that they're doing. If they really push their nose into the thing, you're going to find out about massive kickbacks. And there's where the money laundering will come into play.
Let's sit down and we'll not only sit down, but as I said, we're going to follow up. We're going to keep following up. And perhaps we have to consider other action to make sure that this matter is investigated. We got to make sure that this matter two aspects. The money laundering aspect should be investigated, and the removal of those ranks. The removal of the ranks should also be investigated. And what are the reasons for these people to be sent away, to be inconvenienced just like that? Because they're doing their job. You're going to use your authority to discriminate against those persons. This is so unfair. It is so unfair, and people have to speak up and speak out. We know some people saying here that people ain't get stones, they ain't get balls, they ain't talking. Perhaps they so for some. But we will continue to highlight these issues. We will continue to do so. We will continue to ask the question, and perhaps, and of course, I understand the news all around. The information is all around. Somebody made a note here to say a comment, who is the person and so on. The information all around in the police force and Guyana, because that is not going to be cannot be swept under the carpet easily. 16.52 black bag of $5,000 bill. You just call them in Guyana Granger because they agreed. 2 black bags with money sent to be deposited, and was actually deposited. At least it was accepted because a receipt was issued. A receipt was issued. And I made the point before, as a former senior police officer, these things require immediate action, because the next thing you know, people are going to tamper with the evidence. But let them do that, because there's a charge on by itself. Let them attempt to tamper with the evidence, the receipt book, and whatever other record they have to show that this money was deposited. Let them do that. They're going to find themselves in quicksand. The more they dance, the more they're going to sing. The more they dance, the more they're going to sing. Let them try to intimidate the witnesses. Let them try to, and that's going to be a perversion of the course of justice. Let me see if these people get the same luck like Dharam Lal. Dharam Lal, who's groomed, raped, and buggered the little 16-year-old girl. Let me see if they get the same luck. Because you know what's going on in this place is an animal farm. All animals are equal, but some are more equal than others. So while you can pursue some people charged, 5 retired senior police officers saying that how they conspired to defraud the government of $10 million, you're not going to pursue an investigation into an allegation that the senior officer attempted to launder. You attempted to launder, not to deposit. It was actually deposited. You attempted to launder 16.5 million Guyana dollars. So let's see where this one will go. And we are not going to let up. We are not going to let up, because, as I've said before, in my view, given the definition of FinCEN, a crime has been committed. And if a crime has been committed, it must be investigated. They must start by, once you start the investigation, the person should be sent on administrative leave. Because you can't have a person, a senior rank in the police force, sitting down there to pull the strings and to intimidate people and to interfere with the investigation. He should be sent on administrative leave. And the people to send him on administrative leave will be the police service commission once the investigation is started. And in case you want to know how that is done, check the case of Duki versus the Guyana Police Force, where he was sent on administrative leave, and the court ruled, I think it was Justice Corbett, ruled in that matter. It is there. I have it someplace. The ruling is there as to how this process can be done, to send an officer of the Guyana Police Force on administrative leave pending the outcome of a charge. And here what I'm saying here now, again, police officers, listen. Administrative leave pending the outcome of an investigation. So if you're conducting an investigation, a person can be sent on administrative leave. If they are, if they hold the rank from inspector to assistant commissioner, by the police service commission. From a constable to a sergeant, by the commissioner of police. That is administrative leave. We're not talking about interdiction. If the person is charged criminally, then they should be interdicted. So you have Sigobin from Borbis, who is charged criminally, but he's on the job, he's not interdicted. That is a commissioner of police has to interdict this corporal who is charged. So understand this, folks. If you're charged criminally, you can be interdicted and sent um, pending the outcome of the charge. Now, if you are charged departmentally, you can also be interdicted pending the outcome of the disciplinary charge. So let me tell you of this again. If there's an investigation, serious investigation, you can be sent on administrative leave pending the termination of the investigation. If the investigation leads to a charge, a criminal charge, then you're interdicted from the day you appear in court pending the outcome of the criminal charge. If you are charged departmentally under the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701, you can also be interdicted pending the outcome of the departmental charge. If you are constable to sergeant, that is the Commissioner of Police will do that. If you are inspector to assistant commissioner, the Police Service Commission is the one with the authority to do that. So I'm saying that once an investigation has commenced with this money laundering, I can't sit down in this office, senior office, while such a serious investigation is going on. The fact that allegations are made, that should have automatically triggered an investigation. Not necessarily by the police alone, CID or SOCU, but the Financial Intelligence Unit. Because they are there to look into matters like this. And you know, people might not know, but when in 2003, President Barra Jagdeo attempted to remove me from out of the force following that incident in Borbies where the Minister of Affairs, Gadraj, was attempted to give me illegal instructions. And I stood firm and said, no, I'm not going to carry those illegal instructions. They sent me a letter. I have it. I have the letter. They sent me a letter to tell me that I'm being removed from the force to go to the Financial Intelligence Unit. That was me work. I was the first man to go and get that job. But I tell them I know I'm a police officer. And the circumstances under which I was being removed was a clear case that they were removing me from office because I stood up to the minister. And I consulted with my lawyer, the late, great Rex McKay, and we said, all right, let me go to the court. And we went to the court. We got an injunction against them. And they never put up a defense. Never, ever defending the matter. They never defended the matter. Right? So let me understand that. That same FIU, Paul Slow, Assistant Commissioner. I have the letter. Kargaj is there. I was the first person appointed to go and head that unit. And I refused to go there because of the circumstances under which I was being sent. And then after that, I think, and that's Paul Gear took over. And after Paul Gear, Langevine took over. So there's a little bit of background, a little bit of history for you people to understand. Let me bring Mr. Conway for his closing remarks. Now, before closing, CC, just make a comment because I got a few other matters quickly for you to talk about. Go ahead.
All right, let me talk about interdiction of duty. To back up your story, me want to say Paul Slow say or Clinton Conway say. It's Section 8, Police Discipline Act, Chapter 1701. Say, any member of the force who has been charged with an offense against discipline may, pending the determination of the inquiry into the charge, including determination of any appeal, be interdicted from duty A, if he is above the rank of inspector by the commission or by the disciplinary authority under Article 212 of the Constitution, if the power is delegated to the disciplinary authority. B, if he is above the rank of inspector if he's below the rank of inspector by the commissioner, the disciplinary authority under Article 212.4 of the Constitution, if the power is delegated to the disciplinary authority, and be paid at such rate of pay not less than half of pay as the commissioner, or the disciplinary authority, as the case may be, deemed fit, except that if the charge is dismissed or any appeal against a finding of guilt is allowed, the whole of the pay withheld under the section shall be paid to the member of the force. So, as you just reiterate what you said, Paul, is that constable to sergeant, police commissioner, inspector upwards, police service commission, or if the police service commission has delegated the authority to the commissioner or any other person. And I remember reading the Dookie case with Justice Corbin, where she made it pellucid that in terms of disciplinary matters, it is only the Police Service Commission and no one else. The Police Service Commission and no one else. Not no PS, not no minister, not nobody from any other office. It is the Police Service Commission from inspector upwards and sergeant below the commissioner of police. So it is there according to the law. It's not Conway saying so or Pastor saying so.
But let me tell you a story about that same section 8 of the Police Discipline Act, Chapter 17:01. One of my proudest moments as a young officer, never forget, young ASP at the TSU. I used to go to senior meetings, sit down, you got most of the people sit at the meeting and be quiet. There was a matter at Brigham with a female rank. She worked at the inquiry's office and she was alleged to be abusive to some member of the public. And she was charged departmentally. And every time the matter came up for trial, she reported sick or she was absent herself from duty. The matter came to the attention of the police administration. Larry Lewis was the commissioner of police. And they discussing it, and I asked permission to speak. And then I said, well, sir, if that is the case, if she's deliberately avoiding this trial, then I would respectfully suggest that she should be interdicted pending the outcome of this charge. And a certain senior officer who for now shall remain no less jumped up with short. What nonsense you're saying? This is not a criminal charge, it's a departmental charge. How can you interdict? I said, sir, the Police Discipline Act makes provision for a person who is charged with a disciplinary matter to be interdicted. Nonsense. Larry Lewis, Pressy Bossa, by the admin, pop, call them in the registry. Bring the Police Discipline Act for me. So which section? I said, I'm not sure of the section, but it's somewhere around 8 or something like that, I think there. And Larry Lewis pulled up the thing, and Larry Lewis read, and I was vindicated. I felt so nice. The senior officer sit down there eating humble pie, and a young assistant superintendent passes some head growing, and I getting all the praise from the commissioner. Well done, young officer. Obviously, you're reading, and all them type of things. So I remember that since then. I remember when I was the chairman of the Police Service Commission, I had cause to bring to the commissioner's attention at that time. They were doing the incorrect thing in that they were interdicting people under the Police Discipline Act, and the persons weren't charged. So once an investigation started by the Office of Professional Responsibility, they were interdicted. I had to bring to their attention, no, you cannot interdict at that stage. You have to wait until the person has been charged, because that is what the law says. If the person is charged with a disciplinary offense, you can then interdict. And I drew it to their attention, and I think they had to correct it at that stage. So, yeah, Dudley said in Jamaica, let me put it up here. Dudley said in Jamaica, members can be suspended without pay for serious offenses of crime. Well, the Guyana is different. Guyana is different. You can be suspended and by the various bodies, but I don't think it's without, there's no provision for you to be suspended without pay, right? There's no provision for you to be suspended without pay. So thanks for that contribution, Dudley. We got to share and learn from each other. Now, let me say, in terms of moving on, I get a note here. Let me make a quick peek to make sure. No, CC, I noted that the commanders and ranks in the divisions have been doing what they call outreaches. They go into all the areas and so on. I think the outreach is a good thing, except that I believe it is just for PR and propaganda. Outreach can be a good thing if you do it the correct way. As a matter of fact, when I did COP, Community Oriented Policing, at the FBI Academy, that is one of the things that they recommended. But it's not this, it got to be a structured something where you have frequent interaction with these communities to find out what the problems are and to collectively find solutions to some of the problems in the community. On this where we talked before about the broken window theory. I don't get time to go into it now and all of that, but those are good management tools. So I see that they are going about to these communities, and they are engaging with the community. I say it's a good thing, except that they are just doing PR. You're going out there, the people from the corporate propaganda unit is there, they take a dozen and scores of photographs, and they put it on the social media, and they believe they're doing something good. All right, let me see how you're going to judge, how you're going to gauge, how you're going to judge the benefit of those outreaches. I don't know. But one of the things I've noted, because the extended squatter is also in that process of going out. So I understand that the people from Linden, the community of Linden, is anxiously awaiting his outreach to the Linden community. They want to give him a fine welcome. So I hope that he finds time to go there very soon during the outreach. Mr. Squatter, go to Linden, because there are issues there in terms of relationship with the police and the community at Linden. So you, as the most senior man, should go there and engage and interact with those persons. Perhaps you can go there during the build-up to the show at Retrieve Ground. This show that the minister said he banned Skenge from going. He said the Skenge can't perform public. I'm still waiting to see what will be the outcome of that. And as I've said, I want the minister to prove me wrong. And here I'm referring to the Minister of Home Affairs, Robeson Ben, to prove me wrong. Because I said, even though he made public statement that he banned Skenge from performing publicly in Guyana, I say that given the people who are organizing that activity, the minister don't have the power, the minister don't have the backbone, the minister don't have the balls, so stop that show. The show will go on. Prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. Let me bring in Mr. Conner for his closing remarks.
All right, I went to FBI after you, and we did some of the same programs. They added in 2 other letters after your program. Community-oriented policing, and they added a PNS. Community-oriented policing and problem solving, where they says part of it was able to solve problems in the community. So it's COPPS. When you were there, it was COP, but they added in the PS.
All of the PS where they are in is not the one we get hold at Miami Airport. Hope it's not that one. Yes. Hope it's not PS Paulslow or Paulson or the PS Ministry of Home Affairs. Who was there? I wonder what happened to Shido. I wonder what happened to that minister.
She's in labor. I hope that she will deliver. She's in labor.
My brother, thank you very much. 1 hour 40 minutes already. Time flies when you're enjoying yourself.
Yeah.
We had so many other things to talk about, and every week we have to apologize to the ranks for not addressing the Police Discipline Act. Again, today we were unable to do so, even though we addressed a part of it. If you recall, we talked about the Section 8 of the Police Act. We spoke about other aspects of the Police Act, and I hope that you have picked up from that. In terms of the issue relating to persons being charged or persons being promoted when disciplinary matters are pending, all those things relate to the Police Act, even though we did not address investigation directly. We plan to do so in a subsequent program. But I'm sure you would have gathered that many of the things that we spoke about relate to the Police Act. The interdiction relates to the Police Act. Section 8, you should read it and see what happened. Read it. And we are going to address other issues. As I've said, I'm trying to get the police allowances for you to see it's not only the teachers in Dyer Street, police, Dyer Street. I harping on this one. $320 education allowance. $320 education allowance, police force. So, and I think that is if you get a master's degree. I don't think anybody forced a PhD apart from Dr. Williams. I'm not sure, but whatever your qualification is, if you're qualified for education allowance, it's $320 taxable. The people did the tax and tell me when you think you end up with 312 or something like that. So how can you be encouraging proficiency? And it's the same people saying now that in order to enter the police force, you have to have this type of academic qualifications at CXC level and all of that. Are you paying a man who coming in 104,000 Guyana dollars? 104,000 Guyana dollars? And a teacher, trainee teacher, 104,000? And a security company, the irony of the thing when the government, I think it was last year, announced the increase in salary, and a constable now starts at 104,000, which is about 500. In the same, around the same day, a security company advertising that they are recruiting, and they started pays $120-something thousand, and they emphasize the fact that you don't have to work, I think 5 days a week, and they get all kind of benefits and so on. So you tell me, with this job market, who going into the police force for $500? And that is why you have all the problems, because a lot of people who join the force, they aren't join to serve and protect. They're join to be part of an hustle. They try to get a $16.5 million to deposit too. That is part of the problem, right? So people are coming into, and let me be honest, and let me be straightforward. I will continue to say that they are good, upright, honest, dedicated, hard-working members of the Guyana Police Force. Very intelligent people in the Guyana Police Force. I would always say that because it is true. It is true. People who toil endlessly. People who are very courteous. From time to time, I've had to remark about those people at the immigration, because the immigration officers are police officers. Very professional and very courteous. Unfortunately, it would appear now that those persons are in the minority. Those persons are in the minority. And that is what we have. That is what we have. So when we come, God's willing, Monday, we're going to be with you again on another program of Speaking Out, Exposing Corruption, Incompetence. Again, today I want to compliment you all students for your turnout and for your interaction, because when I made a few mistakes about when I retire and the amount of days or the number of days the teachers are on strike, people corrected me, which means that you are engaged. It means that you're engaged, and that is what we want. That is what we want. Right? So, folks, until next Monday, as I said, God's willing, those of you, again, who are on Lent, I wish you every success in whatever sacrifices you are making. And God's willing, see you again next Monday. Until then, stay well. I hope that by the time then, I'm going to be rid of this cold and not be able to make all of these mistakes. Again, I apologize for the several mistakes, whether it's pronunciation, whether it's wrong date. I apologize to you, my students, and I will endeavor not to repeat those mistakes or to make other mistakes. Until then, see you. Bye.